Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a fascinating look at an economic engine that is very likely hiding right outside your back door. We're going to explore the concept of the modern victory garden economy. We'll be unpacking a completely data-backed 20-point playbook derived directly from our source material. And we're going to see exactly how you can turn everyday backyard soil, a sunny balcony, or an empty community lot into a remarkably powerful, decentralized microeconomy. Let's start right off the bat with the math, because this is a heavy hook. The sources break down the baseline economics of small-scale commercial gardening, and it goes something like this. If you spend about $200 to build a standard 4x8-foot raised garden bed, filling it with soil, seeds, and some good compost, that single tiny plot can produce $600 worth of organic value in just one single growing season. That is an immediate, highly predictable 200% return on your investment. Compare that kind of yield to the stock market, real estate, or sitting in a standard savings account. It's pretty wild. So, the crucial point is captured absolutely perfectly by this quote right from the source material. The dirt hasn't changed. We just stopped getting our hands in it. Photosynthesis hasn't been given some massive software upgrade. The seeds, they operate exactly as they have for thousands of years. What's actually changed is our modern reliance on fragile, highly expensive, and really distant supply chains. Basically, we outsourced our food production, and in doing so, we completely abandoned a massively efficient method of generating local wealth. Here is a quick roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover all 20 ways to build this economy spread across 4 distinct areas: the direct sales engine, the root cellar model, the subsistence advantage, and finally, a profound historical shift called the pattern break. All right, Section 1, the direct sales engine. This is all about hyper-local commerce. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive pricing arbitrage waiting for you in direct organic sales. By bypassing the middleman completely, you capture the absolute maximum premium. Because you aren't just selling vegetables, right? You're selling freshness, you're selling trust, and you're offering a chemical-free guarantee. To put that into perspective, microgreens can yield an absolutely staggering 800 to 1900% profit margin. Heirloom tomatoes sit comfortably between a 500 and 1100% margin. Even fresh basil offers a 300 to 566% markup. When you control the entire chain from the seed to the sale, you capture literally all of that value. So let's look at the first 5 ways to actually execute this. Number 1 is the most traditional route, farmers markets. Here, you're directly selling a story and absolute peak freshness to premium buyers. Number 2, you can tap into cottage law microsales. A lot of regions legally allow you to sell value-added goods straight out of your home kitchen, which vastly increases your profit per item. Number 3 is seed starting and transplants. Selling ready-to-grow seedlings to beginners offers a massive 300% markup, and it takes up almost zero space. Number 4 is the high ROI sprint of microgreens. These go from a seed to cold, hard cash in just 7 to 14 days, and local restaurant buyers absolutely clamor for them. And number 5 is herb cultivation, which taps straight into the booming culinary and wellness demand for fresh, organic herbs like basil and mint. Now, moving beyond just raw produce, number 6 is value-added fermentation. Think about turning surplus, leftover cabbage into artisanal sauerkraut. You are literally converting potential compost waste into premium, shelf-stable wealth. Number 7 is micro-CSAs, or community-supported agriculture. This is where a few dozen neighbors pay you up front for weekly harvests, securing your capital before you even plant a seed. Number 8 is online direct-to-consumer. Using platforms like Instagram or local Facebook groups gives you an incredibly effective zero-overhead storefront. And number 9, you can package all of this into recurring revenue through subscription garden boxes, delivering an ongoing curated experience straight to your customer's door. Let's move into Section 2, the root cellar model. This is how you scale things up without needing a 100-acre farm. Direct-to-consumer sales are fantastic, but scaling them traditionally means you need a lot of land. Now, what's really interesting about the root cellar model is that it offers a total pivot. It redefines the local food hustle by turning you into an aggregator. You buy bulk, cheap root crops or veggies from larger local farms, and then you resell them, maybe they're processed, sprouted, or beautifully branded, directly to your community. This completely stabilizes your income, shifting you away from the daily retail grind and firmly into predictable volume-based wholesale operations. So how do we do this? Number 10 is creating bulk buying networks, where you act as the central hub for neighborhood food cooperatives, buying bulk roots to resell. Number 11 is securing restaurant direct contracts to supply local chefs who are always hunting for consistent, hyper-local specialty crops. Number 12 is locking in school and community partnerships, which gives you incredibly steady, reliable institutional cash flow. Number 13 is urban plot leasing. If you need more space, you monetize unused yards and empty lots right in your own neighborhood. And number 14, creating a closed-loop system through compost and soil sales. You turn garden waste and kitchen scraps into high-value organic compost and sell it right back to other local growers. It's a win-win. Which brings us to Section 3, the subsistence advantage. This is all about foundational scaling. Now, you might be thinking that growing food just for yourself is the exact opposite of a commercial enterprise, but it's actually the foundational step for scaling. Number 15, subsistence gardening, cuts your own grocery bills by up to 70%. That frees up a massive amount of capital to invest back into your business. From there, number 16, you expand into ecological niches by growing and selling native plants and pollinator habitats. Number 17 is mushroom cultivation, a rapid turnover crop that cleverly uses agricultural waste. Number 18 is heirloom seed banking, saving and selling highly unique, climate-adapted seeds for huge margins. Number 19, garden coaching, lets you monetize your hard-earned knowledge by teaching others how to set up their own spaces. And finally, number 20, tool-sharing co-ops. You dramatically cut your overhead by pooling resources and heavy equipment with other local growers. All right, Section 4, the pattern break. Let's pivot and see how this builds into a much larger historical shift. The sources we're analyzing today don't just hand us a tactical playbook. They present a deeply fascinating systemic critique of why these skills vanished in the first place. Think back to the 1940s. During World War II, the government literally printed millions of pamphlets urging citizens to grow their own food for national security. And it was a staggering success. At one point, these home victory gardens produced 40% of the nation's fresh vegetables. But compare that objective reality to the economic architecture of today. According to the source material, our modern system is no longer built around household production at all. It is built almost entirely on household consumption, on credit, and on a heavy reliance on long, fragile supply chains. The sources observe that to access just basic needs today, the modern system pushes us heavily toward financialization. To put that into perspective, just look at the sheer scale of modern debt presented by the data. $1.7 trillion in student loans, over $1 trillion in credit card debt, and $1.5 trillion in auto loans. The analysis suggests that as industrial agriculture scaled up over the decades, the broader economic model completely shifted to favor spending and borrowing over traditional household self-reliance. The underlying thesis of the source material is laid out right here. A self-sufficient person is harder to control, they are less dependent, and ultimately, they are significantly less profitable to the broader financial system. By growing your own food, you are effectively removing a portion of your everyday life from the taxable, trackable cash economy. It completely disrupts a system that fundamentally profits from your dependence on those external supply chains. This quote from the text captures a really powerful psychological shift. Debt finances consumption, production finances freedom. The modern victory garden, as presented in these sources, isn't just about cute nostalgia for the 1940s. The sources argue that it is a highly strategic, practical hedge against inflation and supply chain shocks. It's about viewing your own localized production as a compounding asset. It's a form of real leverage, rather than just manual labor in the dirt. Which leaves us with this provocative final thought from our explainer today. In a world where groceries, everyday goods, and basic living costs are getting relentlessly more expensive, why are we collectively ignoring a system sitting right in our backyards that literally prints food? The dirt hasn't changed. The power is still there, waiting for absolutely anyone willing to just get their hands in it. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown. I really hope it sparked some exciting ideas for your own microeconomy. Catch you next time.